Apple versus the European Union. It's been interesting to see how it goes. Who's advocating more for user privacy and user rights? Certainly, obviously, because this is a tech-focused site and very much reporting on Apple stuff, I think they're going to be probably more inclined to support Apple. But the idea of now I forget when exactly they introduced it. Does it say? Yeah, here we go. iOS 14. Okay, so anti-tracking, app tracking transparency. So when iOS 14 came out, you started seeing these pop-ups. So these notifications appear in apps and in apps, just to ask you whether you permitted them to track your activity, largely the unique phone identifier, and so you required active permission to gain that information, which then basically allows for use patterns and stuff to be established. Metadata. It's a unique, very useful piece of metadata. Now, that on the surface seems like it's a great thing for privacy, that you want to give your users the opportunity to determine whether they want to opt in or not, and that you make it opt in. So it's opt out by default. So in other words, it's turned off. If you don't do anything else, apps cannot use that function to track you, etc. Now, the problem is for advertisers and the companies that want access to it is, well, they use it as an essential part of how they deliver their advertising and how they make their money and etc. i.e., the implementation of the feature is unpopular with advertisers and data brokers, i.e. Facebook and a whole bunch of other bits and pieces. And basically it led to Facebook taking out advertisements saying that Apple was an enemy of small business. But the idea that you've got a feature that provides greater privacy and protections to your end users, all right, why overturn that? Okay, it's advertisers are being hurt, but now Apple's saying that there's intense lobbying efforts in Germany, Italy, and other European countries that may lead to Apple getting rid of that feature, at least within Europe. And it's like, well, hang on. For a group that is so much about, the EU, this is, about the privacy and protection of the consumer and citizens and things like this, it seems at odds that they're coming down in favour of advertisers and data brokers. I mean, the amount of yelling and screaming that took place about Cambridge Analytica and what they did with information from Facebook, it's like, well, hang on. You can't have it both ways. Either you accept that there are steps that need to be taken for improved privacy and security, and that will come at a cost to some other businesses, or you remove those protections and allow those benefits to work. So, I mean, the Germany's Federal Cartel Office has preliminarily ruled that Apple abused its market power with the app tracking transparency feature, giving itself preferential treatment, so private API type thing, even though Apple says it does not collect data from third-party apps. Apple's restrictions made it far more difficult for app publishers to access user data relevant for advertising. Well, yeah. And they're being fined by France's competition authority, saying it's, complicated the process for users to opt out of tracking. Well, it seems pretty straightforward. A single alert that pops up. and unfairly disadvantages third-party devs and ad providers. Yeah, it's a complex setup, particularly if they're going to keep chasing things like that. And I'm sure the comments are going to say, "Look, no, look, yeah, it's bizarre. It's just insane, and it's another one of those things where you start questioning what the EU is up to, and um, whether the EU is really focused on protecting its consumers and citizens, or they're just as corrupt and able to be bent to special interests as anybody else. It's, oh yeah, I don't know.